We've been talking about the possibility, the hopes and dreams of an Injustice 3 on this channel for so long. There's been so much talk, obviously, about what NetherRealm's next game is going to be after Mortal Kombat 1 is all done. I'm not even sure if we're going to get a Combat Pack 3 for Mortal Kombat 1. It looks like Combat Pack 2 is going to be the end of it. They're still releasing like secret characters and stuff, though. They're putting out a new cameo character, which nobody knew was going to happen, and I think that's kind of cool. But based on job postings on LinkedIn, based on some of the stuff that Ed Boon has said, it looks like they're working on or getting geared up for their next game. And of course, we all hope that that next game is going to be an Injustice 3. I know a lot of you found this channel from the Injustice 2 days, and honestly still blows my mind. I'll be playing a game like Marvel Rivals, and somebody will jump into the chat and say, yo, Caboose, I remember watching your Injustice 2 videos back in the day. And so I think part of it for me is just that, you know, like so many of you found this channel from the Injustice 2 days. The game means so much to me for that reason. I just want to celebrate an Injustice 3 and get back to that type of content with you guys. And given all the rumors and everything out there, given all the speculation, we now might have as concrete, as close to a confirmation than we ever had before. You see, recently, a bunch of journalists got to sit down with James Gunn and Peter Safran, the guys who are running the show at DC Studios. And during this sit down, they talked a lot about the sort of film and animation and television slate. You know, they talked about that Lanterns TV show that's coming up. They obviously talked about the Superman movie that's coming out this year, a couple of animated shows that they talked about that got greenlit, some stuff that's on the way, and there was also just a little hint, just a little sprinkle about the games. You see, one thing that James Gunn has talked about wanting to do is have a shared universe that goes across the board, from film to television to animation, and as well video games. I don't know how to feel about that in particular. It was mentioned by James Gunn that the first DC Studios connected universe game is on the way, and it's a couple of years away. We'll have to see how all that turns out. You know, everyone's got skepticism when it comes to anything that's related to like a movie tie-in, but I'm not sure if these games are going to be exactly that. Anyways, on the topic of Injustice, we got an article here from comicbook.com. The headline reads, James Gunn confirms talks with NetherRealm, Rocksteady on new DC games. The article states here, DC Studios head James Gunn and Peter Safran have confirmed talks with Rocksteady and NetherRealm on brand new DC video games. The world of gaming is one filled with the potential for big franchises like DC and Marvel. It's become cliche, but it's the medium that allows Warner Bros. To market the Batman Arkham games with the tagline, Be the Batman. On top of obviously being a lot of fun to play, they allow for new stories for these kinds of characters and ones that really engage the players. Batman Arkham really ushered in a brand new era for superhero gaming and paved the way for games like Marvel, Spider-Man, and more. Comic Book, you're 100% right about that. Such a great statement at the end there, but one thing to talk about here, the main bullet point, James Gunn and Peter Safran have confirmed that they've had conversations with not just Rocksteady, which we've seen tons of rumors that they're working on a new Batman game, but also with NetherRealm about DC games. NetherRealm's known for fighting games, all right? They've made Mortal Kombat, and for the last couple of years, at least in the last 10 or so, we have seen that they've also worked on this franchise called Injustice. And usually the cycle was MK game, Injustice game, back to MK, then to Injustice. After Injustice 2, we got Mortal Kombat 11, and then we actually break the mold and don't go back to Injustice. Instead, we go from MK11 straight to MK1. A bit of a shocker, in my opinion, but it looks like, again, as close to confirmation without saying officially that it's happening, we're gonna get an Injustice 3, I think, guys. And you're hitting that thumbs up button preemptively. You know what? You probably already hit the thumbs up button at this point. Let's be real. Let's go to a direct quote that was put here in this article from comicbook.com. We work incredibly close with JB Perrette, who runs that division, said Safran. It's really the first time it's ever been this way at Warner Bros. James and I sit with the guys that run the studios under JB, whether it's NetherRealm or Rocksteady. We sit with them and we talk about characters and stories that we're interested in and that they're interested in. Oh, baby, it's warming up, guys. It's warming up. Listen, okay, I'm not going to say it's officially confirmed. We're all just speculating here. We don't have official confirmation, and you never know, okay? after the Wonder Woman situation, you can't bank on any of the games that we want to be coming out under WB Games to happen, actually. So maybe an Injustice 3 is being made right now. That doesn't mean that it releases, unfortunately, and that's just the landscape of video games these days. But given the success rate of NetherRealm Studios, you know, they've released some games that have sold incredibly well, and the Injustice franchise has definitely done great for DC. Even the comic books, I mean, I know a lot of people are a big fan of the comic run of Injustice. That world, that storyline, the lore there, so many people are invested in it. So I would say, again, as close to confirmation as we could get, it's coming from this article here. It sounds like James Gunn and Peter Safran sat down with not just Rocksteady, who, again, we have a good feeling are working on a new Batman game, but also with NetherRealm Studios. And if they're working on a DC game, if James Gunn and Peter Safran are talking to NetherRealm about DC characters, what other game could they be making except for Injustice? Continuing with the article, though, we got a quote here from James Gunn. We see designs for the projects in their very earliest stages. We talk about those. We talk about what the story might be, and we'll say, well, maybe you want to go this way because we're planning on maybe doing something with this character. I'm not gonna lie, I don't love that, okay? I don't love this whole concept of, well, we're gonna use this character, so maybe you guys don't. I understand that James Gunn and Peter Safran, they have this really ambitious idea to have this through line between all mediums. He wants games to have characters that we'll then see pop up in movies, and those characters in those movies might pop up in some animated show. I mean, it's cool. We're all gonna have to do a ton of homework to understand what's happening with DC projects like 5 years from now. But I really don't like the idea, and CW shows were suffering from this as well. I don't like the idea that we're using a character in this one project, try and not use that character in this other project. Injustice should be its own thing, in its own corner, the same way that the Matt Reeves Batman films are going to be its own thing in its own corner, separate from Batman the Brave and the Bold. I think a general consumer, you know, the audience member, the gamer, the fellow moviegoer, they're going to understand the distinction between the booster gold that pops up in a potential Injustice 3 and the booster gold that's going to pop up in whatever DC show they're trying to make. So I'm hoping they're still going to allow NetherRealm their creative freedom with whatever project that they're working on, regardless of what it might be. I'm incredibly excited. From what I'm reading here from comicbook.com, it does sound like we're going to get an Injustice 3. I'm very hopeful. And if we do, whenever that announcement comes, if we get that trailer, I got you guys covered right here. We're going to go back to the glory days on this channel. You got to be subscribed, all right? And you got to have those notifications on. If we get that Injustice 3 announcement at some point in the future, you know we're bringing the hype. My fingers are crossed. I will say, though, if we are going to get an Injustice 3 or whatever NetherRealm's next game is going to be, it still probably will end up being a while. We got the Pro Comp Season 2 going on for Mortal Kombat 1 right now. They're still heavily promoting Combat Pack 2. They got one more character to release, and as well, a secret cameo character that nobody expected. So a bit of promotion still left for Mortal Kombat 1. Barring they don't end up having a Combat Pack 3, I imagine they're going to ride it out to the very end before they close the doors on the game and say, all right, we're moving on to the next thing. And with that being said, let me now kick it to you guys. Sound off with your thoughts in the comments section below. Based on the quote here from James Gunn and Peter Safran, do you think that we're gonna be getting an Injustice 3? And how excited are you for that? What would you want to see in Injustice 3? Sound off with your thoughts in the comments. I've been Caboose. I'll see you guys later.